Hello, everyone. I'm Austin Light with American Demon Comics, and I'm joined by my good friend Brandon Ingram with Dismay Comics. How are you doing this week, Brandon?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. We are talking a little backstage how it's been a busy week, but it's and this isn't a bad thing. It's just like more of the same in terms of
Yeah,
the busyness. It's just like,
it's
yep,
nothing exciting's happened. We're just working on our projects kind of diligently. Last week, I ordered the Comics Wellspring order. No, I think I finalized for the proof. That's all I did last week, and now this week I'm just waiting for it to show up in the mail. So it's supposed to be here on Friday. um, and I want to get that approved as soon as possible.
yeah.
Um, and then another thing I've done is last week I started. Uh, I finally got new T-shirts. Um, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but when I ordered those T-shirts and got them in, I was very happy with how they felt. They were very comfy feeling, very soft T-shirts. And then I found a printer and I got the details, sent them the design, and got the shirts to them last Friday. So in the next 2 weeks, I should have a report back on how those T-shirts turned out, or
Nice.
how the printer's going, or I might have them done. But this week is just waiting on that proof to come in, waiting to hear
Yeah.
back from the printer for the shirts,
With
and
the printer for the shirts, you don't have to like say it here. Um, was it like a better quote than what like custom ink would do?
yeah, so I actually have a funny story about that whole situation. I had talked to a more local place from my hometown, and they had. I talked to them on the phone, and I said, "Okay, here's this detail and this detail. What do you think a rough estimate is?" And they were like, um, "Well, it's going to be X amount for that one and X amount for this one." And I was like, "Okay, well, I just talked to this other well, I didn't tell them this. So I was like, oh, okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
But I had just talked to the Huntsville um, printer that I was thinking about going with, and they had done it about, if you did a total, probably about $100 or $200 cheaper.
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm totally going with these guys. And
Yeah.
then, but I had sent a text message on the business site to that place in Arab. They didn't get back to me very quick, so that's why I called them. But then later they sent back a response to that text, saying, giving me a completely different quote that was way cheaper. And I was like, what the heck?
Hmm.
So it was marginally cheaper. I probably could have got maybe um, 50 or $60 cheaper with these guys. Um, but I'm happy with who I chose. They didn't break the bank, and they still were like 200. I think they're about, give or take, $200 cheaper than doing it through Custom Ink, because I've got more shirts than uh, in bulk. I got, instead of like 45, I got 52.
Mhm.
Um, and that, and the grand total is like $100 off. So I got more shirts for $100 less. So give or take 150, $200 cheaper than doing it through Custom Ink.
And I forgot, did you say you provided them with the shirts
Mm-hmm.
or okay.
Yeah, I went to Jiffy Shirts or Jiffy something.com, Jiffy. I think if you can just search Jiffy Shirts in Google or something, you'll find them. But that's where I got my uh, Bella Canva shirts again.
Yeah, yeah.
And those are uh, very good quality. I've
Oh yeah.
always liked those shirts. So I still think I'm gonna have to sell them for about 30 to make a good profit off of them, and to continue to be able to to make more shirts.
Right.
Um, I kind of half considered doing a Kickstarter, like being like, hey,
You could,
you
yeah.
know, here's
I mean,
a $500 Kickstarter.
I've seen people do it for like comic people do it for t-shirts. I've seen them do it for the music track that goes with this comic or this or that. So yeah, like I think that'd be completely fine if you did decide to do that.
um, I wouldn't mind doing it. I think it's just gonna. I mean, maybe if I made it really simple and straightforward, it could work. Because the last Kickstarter kind of kicked my butt in showing like how much of the assets and stuff I needed to create for like
Mhm.
thumbnails and for uh, item pictures and pictures for the descriptions and stuff like that. I didn't, you know, go through
The
all that.
plus
But if
side, I was gonna say the plus side with the t-shirt is like you don't, I mean, like, yes, there has to be like description and stuff like that, but it
right,
doesn't have to be like this long
here's the
story and
plot of the
text or
T-shirt.
of the t-shirt. Yeah, yeah. It's more just like describe the t-shirt. And then I would recommend like having, because now you can do this in Kickstarter. It's going to be a while before I start incorporating this because they're starting to add more and more features. You can add like videos to your story part that used to not be there.
Oh wow.
Um, Add either pictures of you or someone like actually modeling it, um, and then like having that on there as well, because it's one thing to see like the image of the t-shirt. It's like, man, that's great, but like the definitive thing for people, since they're buying it on the internet and they can't like try it on right there, is to see what it looks like on someone.
Hmm.
That's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll get it.
Yeah, and I think it might could pull it off if because it would they're already paid for, so I could be like four
Yeah,
hundred dollars or something, and the extra 400.
yeah.
But then there's the shipping and whatever they take out. I would like to give the opportunity to be able to like sell this outside of the conventions.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and Kickstarter would offer that. But I also feel like maybe I should just kick my own butt and make a store, but I still don't really have the demand from people to have a store going. So, yeah, Kickstarter's on the mind for that. Um, but I'm not too sure right now. Um, still thinking about it. But
Yeah.
this week I've also worked on issue number 3 on the traditional side. I've been for the past 2 weeks I've been on and off writing a lot for it. I really want to like bust my own ass about making the writing good.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so uh, I finally started actually drawing some of the stuff, um, and I'm kind of impressed with myself on how much faster I've gotten with like getting a page made. Um, it used to be kind of a daunting task, your first few pages that you make,
Mhm.
um, which webtoons, when I first started making webtoons, helped with that intimidation. Um, just being able to get into that repetitiveness of drawing. Um, I think that helped me transition to making comic book pages uh, a little easier. But I remember very first starting out, like very first starting out, it was intimidating to like make my first few pages. But
Like intimidating in like putting it out there, like publishing it.
no, just like creating it, like it was
Oh, just
so
create. Okay.
because you don't know your own style yet, and you don't know how you work with the page, and you don't know how it's going to read, um, and uh, and a lot of people skip over doing thumbnails. I have loved doing thumbnails because that has helped save my pages. I think, um, like it's I I would say that if not 100%, then about 95% of issue number 2 had thumbnails for every page,
Yeah,
um, to uh,
just help with
help
that
structure
page
them.
layout. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think that really helps with the readability. And then what I did in the last few pages is something I'm doing now is where I don't use copy paper. I'm using the actual comic Bristol board now, and I start on the back, and with the light box, I look where those little margins are that they've put in blue on that Bristol,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I mark in the square, each square, and that helps me so much keep things in the center. And you'll
I
see that with the last few pages from issue number 2.
I don't know why I haven't thought about it now. I thought it was just simply I collect original art, and like some of the art I have on the back, they have like basically the rough layout and sketch on the
Mm-hmm.
back of it, on the back of the Bristol board. I don't know why it took me so long to realize it. At first I thought it was just them like just trying to see what it looked like, but now I'm almost certain if I go and look at them, it is, even though it's on the back, it is within those margins to where they could flip it over on a light box and kind of go there. I never even thought about that. Um, but yeah, that's cool. I never even considered that. I thought it was just trying to sketch it out and have an idea and then flip it
Well, they
over.
might
But
be.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Your every artist is gonna approach things a little differently.
yeah,
But I was doing this in. I learned. I don't think I was even doing this in issue number 1, but um, at some point in issue number 2, I was like, I like being able to flip it and being able to see where those weird things are in the structures, but I don't like having to redraw it over and over.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in order to have original art, you want it to be, it's nicer for it to be readable and in ink, not just on copy paper on a piece of paper.
yeah,
But I didn't like my sketch being on the Bristol board because it's just a sketch. It's not like excuse me, it's not what I'm wanting to present.
yeah,
And
yeah,
in order to get it to be the right direction, the right orientation on the Bristol board, I would have had to been like, okay, draw it the correct way on the correct orientation on the copy paper, flip it over, fix it, then have the Bristol board flipped over on that wrong orientation, sketch it again, flip the Bristol board back over, and then have it back to a normal orientation. And I was like, I can't
yeah,
do all
yeah,
that. So I just was like, I'm just going to put it on the Bristol board because I'm not making anything, I'm not inking anything anyways, unless it's on the Bristol board.
right.
So if it's backwards, it's backwards. So on the back, I do it the normal orientation, sketch out everything, flip it over. On the front, I tighten it up, clean it up, try and fix things, but it's facing the wrong way. So my original art will not be the correct orientation because once I scan that, and it's
You just
in,
flip it.
I just flip it in
Yeah, yeah.
Clip Studio. So
That'll be interesting for people that, that get the original art.
um, so that's a little bit of my method to the madness. And
Thinking
but
about it, I mean, that's like that's not bad at all. Like the flip tool is so helpful right there because yeah, you're able to knock it out a lot quicker. Like because you basically have it in a sense through that sketch on the back, and then like turning it to the front's just ironing out details and stuff like that, and then yeah, just flip
and for
it
some
after it's
reason it's
scanned.
so
It's a
much
good idea.
easier to
Yeah, yeah,
traditionally fix it. Like if I'm fixing something, it's just I see it so much better in traditional form, and then on the computer it gets flipped back, and I
Hmm.
go over it again. But usually it's so on point that I don't have to really do a whole lot other than just start eking it.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and I might adjust the size of something. I might change the perspective a little bit. Um, so yeah, I've been working on that this week. I've been working on getting the sketches. I've got like 4 pages. Um, I'm I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited with how issue 3 is looking so far. When I'm writing, I have like these questions I'm asking myself, like where is Envy gonna be? Where's she going? What is Lust up to? What is Fritz like? I write these questions like what's the theme? What's the action? What's the I'm trying to ask myself like the questions to make sure that all the holes are kind of filled in. Who am I going to kind of push to the back? Like
yeah, yeah.
Fritz kind of had her limelight in issue number 2, so I'm going to have Fritz be a little bit more of a background character for issue 3, so that Gaz and Lust, um, and some of the new characters can have more of a spotlight, and Sam. So uh, yeah, that's it's been fun trying to kind of really hone in on my writing style too. And I think I've changed like this some scenes around, either in order in which they chronologically appear or in how they function. Um, Originally, Envy was going to be kind of tied up because she was going to be accused of being like Lust was going to lie and say that she was going to kill Fritz and Gaz because the demons were not supposed to have an obligation to their summoners.
Hmm.
Um, and then uh, that was going to cause some drama. But I was like, no, it's kind of weird for her to kind of wake up being accused of these things. And when she's gone through, they've already gone through a lot. She's weak, she's human. I just didn't see that being totally in character for them. Um, so I've found other ways to kind of play with the drama in you know in those scenes. So
Yeah,
that feels like it's more organic, makes more sense, but also is kind of put some action and some conflict into it.
yeah, yeah. That's good.
Uh,
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Amidst everything, you're starting on slash working on issue 3. Um, well, I mean, like, don't like set a set in stone date, but how long do you think it would take you to finish issue 3?
mm, it depends on how long I feel like it's going to be. So, like issue 2, I was like, I'm not finishing issue 2 until we get them out of this warehouse.
Hmm.
I was like, I don't want to. There's some good spots where I could leave off on this comic and start on issue 3. Um, but they would have to pick up back in the warehouse
Yeah, yeah,
and finish some of these important details that uh, are in it. Um, and I didn't want to go ahead and push issue 2 out the door until I was done with that. So
yeah,
I feel like issue number 3 is going to be much of the same, where I'm going to have particular scenes that I want to be have wrapped up. And like with issue number 2, I added maybe 2 or 3 pages that I didn't expect to add um, in the long run. Uh, and then there were some pages I took out. And so it's just kind of a give and take. And I would like for it to be done. I'd probably give myself the expo deadline if I can get into the expo. I'd probably
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like, each convention can kind of space out like a deadline. So it's like
yeah, yeah.
I want to have something new at this table. Uh, so I would say the expo, which is usually in March or April, um, would be a good deadline. And I think that gives me enough time to do the story, finish it, have a Kickstarter, etc.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, so you were talking about possibly having thank you letters. Is that something you want to
Uh,
discuss publicly or keep kind
well,
of
well,
on the back
actually,
burner?
eventually I might do thank you letters. When I had mentioned that earlier, I meant more like the thank you cards themselves would be like good little holder of stickers or like
Yeah,
a mini comic or whatever.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean that
because it,
plays into it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
have thank you
yeah,
letters that are also double. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh,
kind of like a double use to them.
multi-purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, thing. I think other creators would be interested in this idea. But yeah, these sturdy little thank you cards that hold little prizes inside. It would be
yeah,
really cool to receive.
yeah. Uh, I'm gonna sound like an Uncle Scrooge in what I'm about to say. Um, Probably won't include that with like a Kickstarter, like with a Gallows Man 3.
Right,
The
right.
the Uncle Scrooge in me says do a project to where everything can be put in the thank you card. One, because it can be a lot cheaper for the backer if it is a mini comic or something tiny. There's a guy, I forget the guy's name, but he does comics on one large thing of newsprint, like a large thing of newsprint, and then it's folded, and then it's basically a mini comic, but then it folds out. But
Mm,
from what I remember, he usually just packages that in essentially a card, puts in an envelope, ships it out, sort of thing. His weighs a little bit more, so he might just put two stamps on it. But I mean, that's $1 shipping. Um, but nah, I've been thinking about little stuff like that here and there. For one, just like it's projects and stuff that don't really take a long time. Like a lot of effort will be put into those projects, but in terms of the starting to when a Kickstarter would happen, not a ton of time. It's not like it'll get like $2,000 Kickstarter or whatever, like for something as small as this. But I mean, like I could see something like that getting few $100s or whatever. And it's not about like the money. It just simply is like, hey, I'm getting more stuff out there. I'm getting more stuff out there cheap, like in terms of me producing it and shipping it, as well as the people backing it, they're getting something cheap. Because that's a big thing with like the Kickstarters, like with Gallows Man 3 and previous like standard comic stuff. I usually use Gemini mailers, like the cardboard mailers, and shipping in the US it's dropped some with pirate ship the past couple years, but it's usually like 5 to 750 for shipping, sort of thing. um, and then you also got the per unit cost, which is usually like $3 to 450, sort of thing. So you have to factor that stuff in terms of the cost that you're the price for the thing. But if it was something as simple as this one mini comic or this one thing that's on one newsprint, but it's all folded in, and the per unit cost of that is like less than 50 cents, or
hmm
let's say 50 cents. It's like 50 cents per unit. Uh, shipping. Let's even go the higher route. Let's say I have to put 2 stamps on it. $1.50 right there. Materials in terms of the thank you card that holds it, as well as the envelope, you're really looking at maybe 20 cents a piece if you're buying in bulk and stuff. So like at the end of the day, it's costing me $1.70 at most to have this one thing shipped to this person. Um, and I could just have a Kickstarter where it's $5 pledge or
Mm-hmm.
$6 pledge to get this thing. Um, I don't know. It's little stuff that I've been thinking about. It's not like I'm not making money off of this because, like I said, it's like with that type of Kickstarter, you're going to get at least a first time. If it does well, you can do more and more that sort of stuff. Or you're looking at like a $500 Kickstarter probably. Um, but I don't know, like those cheap ways of people supporting and getting into like this comic venture thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people are looking for that in terms of people backing Kickstarter to where, yeah, if it's like, oh, it's $5 or $6 and I get a physical thing, like, yeah, like that's like, yeah, I'll back that. Like there's
Yeah.
digital versions of a comic that are $5 to $6. Yeah,
Well,
I'll
see,
back $5 to $6 for this mini comic and whatever.
now that you say that, I was just now thinking like I couldn't put add-ons to be included on the digital purchases because
Hmm.
I didn't really know. I didn't know how, or I
Yeah,
don't know if I
add-ons.
could at
You
all,
can't add-ons for the
or
digital purchases. You can only do digital add-ons for the digital purchases. I'm
right.
pretty sure you might be able to do physical, but thinking about it, you might be able to do physical, but you have to like check off in the add-on that like
Yeah.
physical, and then also probably add the shipping as well in case anyone that backed digital, they would also pay the shipping as well.
Hmm.
Um, but
Well, each add-on came with its own shipping rate, as far as I could tell. I could
yeah,
add an additional like $4 or something to it for shipping. Um, but I was thinking maybe the tier reward, like you said, could just be something physical. Like I could have made the tier reward 2 stickers, and then that came with the digital PDFs. Like that came with those things, and then it could also have the add-ons. Like since it is a physical reward now, stickers, you could have physical add-ons put onto it, like other stickers or something.
now here's so how much, just so I can factor up like what that tier would cost or what that tier would be. What was your digital tier before thinking about doing the physical sticker with it?
10 for
10? Okay.
both PDFs, and I did later add on the $6 tier for just issue number 2 digital.
Okay. So let's say there's the $6 tier. Um, how much was it? Like you said, you're in like this hypothetical, you would do like 2 stickers that you would mail, or
Yeah, yeah.
okay. What's like the unit cost for
The unit
one?
cost would be something like $2.04 for 2 stickers.
Okay. And then envelope as well as stamp. So about 250 extra in terms of unit cost. So $6 PDF, 250 extra. Yeah,
If they
like
if they're really trying to buy the digital PDFs,
yeah,
that's basically paying for the shipping for
yeah,
the products that are actually physical. You know what I mean?
that's true. So would you keep it $6 or would you bump it up a little bit because of the stickers and envelope?
I'd probably bump it up to um 12 or something. Like if it's both PDFs, I would
Yeah,
have
yeah,
probably bumped it up to maybe 12.
yeah.
Um,
That's not bad.
but I
What
mean,
if
I
it's
could,
just
like I
one
said,
PDF?
I could. It wouldn't make any sense if I made it the same price because then I actually think
The-
that I could have just made the digital rewards come with the physical. Just say that this is, you're getting the digital PDFs. Well, you're getting stickers too, and that could have just been $10 because, like I said, that digital payment would just cover the price of both those stickers since
yeah, yeah,
your digital project's kind of ephemeral.
yeah, yeah. I'd say like as long as like with any campaign, as long as there's one tier that is under $10, as long as there's one tier that's under $10, I think you're good. Um, because it's just a weird like $9 and $10. The only difference is $1, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
a psychological thing almost.
Yeah.
Like for those that like don't really have the budget to get a physical copy or to get higher up or whatever, they sometimes look at like, okay, like what's like under $10. I can help support by doing $6, $8, $9, whatever. Um, so as long as there's like one tier that's under $10, I'd say, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I can do that. I have to write this down because I will forget come next Kickstarter. What was that? What was that? 10 ideas, 10 brilliant, amazing ideas that we had that would definitely fund this Kickstarter. I don't remember. Um, all right, so we are working on a side project. We talked about it. We brainstormed some things. We could even brainstorm the covers right now, um, ideas, and I've sent 4 of them, 4 ideas. And if you had any ideas, you can uh, tell them to me now or send them to me, and I can try and work those out.
I like the three I'd mentioned, the Blair Witch one
Hmm.
with us two, the candy one, as well as the pumpkin and witch hat one. All three of those I think are great. All four of them are great. I think
Hmm.
those three are good in terms of eye catchers, as well as like the little image that would be put on the little comic in the comic itself. Like you're able to easily identify those because they're
Yeah.
a bit bigger and in your face, sort of thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess it just all comes down now to like what is the title and what would the title look like on each of those. Um, and we talked a little bit about the title. Like I'm
We've said a total of 2 sentences, I think,
yeah,
about the
yeah,
title.
yeah. That's what I mean by a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I'm okay. I mean, like it's both of our decision. I'm okay with keeping it meta and it being like a Halloween comic or whatever. Um, because like for those listening, the comic itself is meta. Like the comic is about me and Austin trying to give out this mini comic.
Hmm.
Um, uh, so it doesn't have to be a Halloween comic, but I'm okay with keeping the title meta and just whatever kind of looks well with those three cover ideas and whichever one looks best. And also with back cover, because like there would be a back cover to this. If one of the other two that we don't choose, like that could always possibly be the back image or
Hmm.
whatever on the
I wouldn't
comic.
want to like confuse people though if they're picking it up to like
Yeah, that's
start
true.
reading it
That's
the
true.
wrong or something. Um,
Yeah.
but
And no,
I
no,
was thinking,
it wouldn't be it wouldn't have like the title or anything on the back cover. And
yeah,
I do get like, yeah, don't have like one of the big images on the back cover. Like it needs to be something You can have an image on the back cover, but
Well,
like
I
kind
can
of more
fade it.
pulled
I
out.
can
Yeah.
I can push it back. Well, we can make it as extravagant as we want it, but I can just
Yeah.
knock that opacity down, and it's just
Yeah. That could work.
which I think that would be good. I think that the front cover would be good with the pumpkin and witch hat.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the title going across the
On
brim
the
of her
hat
hat.
brim.
Hmm.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
And then in the back cover could be our Blair Witch idea
Mm.
and just pushed back a little bit. And then we can have our plugs on the back, just a QR code or
Yeah. I
our
think that's a
brand
good idea.
logos or whatever. Um, because I wanted the back to have our information. Um, but yeah, I think the the title Halloween comic.
It doesn't have to be that. But I'm yeah, it doesn't have to be specifically that, but I'm okay with like a basic and or meta title to it.
Yeah,
Just to go along with the comic itself, basically.
basic title.
Insert title here.
Yeah. um yeah, I think I would like it to be kind of stupid, like basic title. Um because that would just kind of, I think that would play off the humor a little bit better.
Mm.
Halloween comic works. I don't I don't know if I like Halloween project, comic on Halloween, um, comic of Halloween, Halloween in comics, like in space, but in comics.
Free
um,
Halloween comic, because aren't we doing this for free? You just put
yeah,
free in the title.
free. I feel like that would be a little too going over people's head.
Plus, that does limit us in case one day this mini comic pops off and we're like, well, now we want to charge a couple bucks for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but the whole joke is us giving it away.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would suck. That would suck so bad. This dumb little comic is like, oh my god, it is sweeping the nation.
Yeah. I'd be happy as long as it got eyes on our other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like no one is checking out Envy or no one is checking out Gallows Man or
Mhm.
Dismay Avenue. They're just looking at the mini comic and be like,
We
come
want
on.
more of this.
Here's the thing. The Uncle Scrooge and me would be like, okay, Austin, let's do this again.
Well, I don't mind. I think the heavy lifting would be on the writing anyways, so but yeah, I think that works. Uh, we will discuss more in chat because
Yeah.
I'm good with going with Halloween comic, but if there are any objections or any different ideas that come to mind, we can go
Yeah.
to the
And
we
pop them
can
up.
yeah. Um, and then I like the hat and pumpkin being the cover, and then one of
Yeah.
our other options just being faded in the back of it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And like you said, if it is the the Blair Witch one on the back, it's faded, and like it is now, you could always put we can do our symbols. They probably need to if we're having the barcode. Our little moniker or whatever, little not barcode, QR
QR
codes. What I
code.
meant to say.
Yeah.
yeah, QR code next to each of them or whatever. Like, yeah, I think that could work. Because we're also, I mean, we're right there as well. So it just,
Right.
yeah, it works pretty good.
I was thinking about them alternating, like the logo in one corner for
Yeah,
one of us, a QR code below it, and then
yeah,
QR
that's what I was
code
thinking.
and logo.
Yeah,
Although that, I guess that could get confusing. I don't, but they're supposed to go to both of them anyway. So
yeah, and whatever looks best, like we'll
right.
see.
Um, C. Talked about starting issue number 3. Talked about thank you letters and mailing, and I did want to say that I am waiting on the print proof from Comics Wellspring. When I submitted the order, I was like, this needs to be in by this time, and then on that was like in one of the projects, and then again in the other comic notes, I put this needs to be in by this time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
just
they've been,
clarifying
yeah,
because yeah,
they've been very prompt so far,
that's good.
getting back to me. Excuse me. Now I did try to return. Like I will try to be as quick as I can be on all this turnaround,
Yeah, yeah,
um, and have everything be as straightforward as I can make it, and help you as much as I can help you. Um, but get this over here to me.
yeah, yeah,
The print proof's supposed to be in Friday. Um, they've been they've been talking to me really well, so um, I feel like they got the message on that.
yeah,
And if not, maybe they are just running a little bit more efficiently. Um, but that's yet to be really seen. Um, but I okay. What I did mean to mention is I did select like 3D 3-day like express shipping on my options. In that I didn't go for the highest to like $150 1-day shipping. But it was just a few bucks to bump it up from like standard to like a 3-day thing. So
yeah, yeah.
um, I went with that. Uh, yeah, waiting on that and the t-shirts. And both of us went to go watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. Um, so my initial thought slash reaction, fun time. Uh, uh, Close to good movie. A fun time, worth seeing in the movie theater.
Yes, yes.
Fun time. Now, what I will say, I'm a comic fan, but what I've seen with all the comic YouTubers and comic fans that I know on YouTube is I am clearly in the minority and not loving this movie. I don't think it's a bad movie. I had a fun time and it teeters on good. Um, but everyone's giving it like 10 out of 10s and stuff. And I
Hmm.
just don't see that at all.
Yeah. Well, you've opened up my brain a little bit already with just your first statement. So I think that we can do another movie review if you would like to go to do that right now.
We can do that.
All right. We're going to wrap up this podcast. Slow week, but still productive. And we've been working on our projects. We want to get everything out to you uh, guys. Well, a lot of people are probably listening just to have some advice on their own stuff. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. If you are fans, we love you. Um, but we are now going to go talk about Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yes.
I've been Austin Light with American Demon Comics, and I've been joined by.
Brandon Ingram, Dismay Comics. Gallows Man 3 Kickstarter September 10th. I have set the date. I'm not going
Let's
back
go.
a week or anything. September 10th is when it is. Just wrote the trailer for the Kickstarter itself. Uh, usually only like 200 to 300 people, or there's only 200 to 300 views on those trailers. I spend way too much time and money on those, but it's for me because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I like doing these trailers. I have this weird, somewhat storyline that goes with all of these trailers, and this one's pretty good. I got the 1940s radio announcer guy back, and I'm actually hiring him today. I sent him the script, and he said he's good with it, so I'll hire him today. But I have him for those that don't know. Go type in on Kickstarter, or you can go to my YouTube channel. All of the trailers are at the bottom of there. Look at the Gallows Man #1 Kickstarter trailer, Gallows Man #2 Kickstarter trailer, Tales from Town City #1 Kickstarter trailer. And you'll notice in all of those, I usually have the 1940s radio announcer guy do a typical ad reading of each Kickstarter. And he also says some funny stuff in that, but then ads usually 30 seconds to a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last half of the trailer is just getting this guy to say very stupid stuff. It's essentially like, hey, I want to hear a 1940s radio announcer say very dumb stuff. And I'll tell you the ones I have in this one real quick. It's only like 6 things in this one. And there's also a storyline, but you'll have to wait for the trailer. There's a storyline in him saying these. But
Oh,
these are the
boy.
ones he's going to be saying. Baby got back. Have you ever seen a dead body? No cap. These chicken nuggies be bussin', gang. Would you like to see a dead body? Morpheus, Dorpheus, Orpheus, go eat some Morrises. Someone's getting a visit from the pee-pee monster.
Brilliant, wonderful stuff to have a 1920s. If you're thinking about what he's saying, if you've ever watched honest trailers, the comment section would
Yeah,
always have
yeah,
stuff that they want the trailer guy to say
yeah.
in his
I think
dramatic trailer voice.
that's ultimately where I think I pretty much got it from, is like, because I grew up on Screen Junkies. Like I haven't
Mm-hmm.
watched them in years, but like back when they did honest trailers and they did other stuff other than honest trailers, I watched them a ton, and I always like that end of the honest trailers, is getting epic trailer voice guy to say stupid stuff. And so now I'm getting 1940s radio announcer to say stupid stuff.
All right. Well, let us end this podcast and we will see you in our review.